Good morning, YouTube, or good afternoon, or good night, wherever you are. Welcome to another video. So I know I haven't uploaded anything in a very, very, very long time, but, you know, I took a break from the game, but, you know, of course, if you see my video, like a year and a half ago, maybe, of my Harpie deck, I just had to come back, like when I heard the announcement that, there were the new Harpie cards. And so I guess you could consider this deck an extension of the one I did however long ago. Oh, I should mention that before starting, I am playing this without the rank 7s. So I don't play Pet Dragon or Tempest, mainly because I can't get the levels and exceeds. But whatever. I think this deck is still it's perfectly fine without them. It just loses a little bit of power, but it's fine. So this also actually helps people who can't afford level 7, but they want to play the deck. So I hope this helps you construct a deck. So without further ado, here it is. So I'm playing 3 channelers. Of course, you got to play 3 channelers. They're very nice. They're a very nice addition to the Harpie family, and they definitely help the deck speed up. Grab the cards from the deck. However, because I'm not playing the rank 7s, this deck does rely a lot less on these guys, which I think you could take as a good thing or a bad thing. But I'll take it as a good thing because you don't worry too much about what becomes of these guys, because you're like, whatever, if they get banished, they get banished. It's no big. I'm not relying on them to get out, a big eye or whatever. So that's channelers. And of course you gotta play your queens. One thing I did change from my other profile was that I decided to replace one lady one with a cyber. And my reasoning for this is actually because the lady ones are better when you're swarming, but the cyber does a better job by herself, if you know what I mean. So she's just a better opener just because she's a higher beat stick, but when you're swarming you definitely want these guys, so that's why I'm doing the 2-1 ratio. I am still sticking with the Miss Valley Falcons. I think they're beat sticks. His attack condition is like laughable. He has a lot of synergy with deck. It's just the only problem he's not a Harpie card. But the fact that he can bounce back Hunting Ground when your opponent you're planning to summon a bunch of stuff, but your opponent has not back row and you don't want to go minus on yourself. You can also bounce back used up historic parties. So stuff like that. I think I think he has potential. And I'm playing Torgat Engine. This is mainly just to get out Leviathan and Leviair. Leviair, of course, to get the Harpie ladies that get banished, or just steal any banished monster, really. And then Leviathan is just to provide another giant beat stick. And I'm playing 2 Trags. This card is amazing. Not only does it stop OTK, but in this deck, because we have Hysteric Sign now, that thing gets you 3 cards to your hand, and that beefs this thing up by 1800. So this thing can actually turn into quite a beat stick, not that hard, which I appreciate in this deck. And of course, you can't really run Gores because you're playing field spells and continuous traps and continuous spells. So he's their next best thing. I'm playing 2 Veilers. Veilers are Veilers. You can never really go wrong with Veilers. Although I do think Breakthrough is a little better. But I don't have those on hand right now, so we're going to be using the Veilers. Onto spells, we got the 20 grounds. You really should not need more than 2, because if you're playing against a somewhat decent player who knows what they're doing, and if they know what Harpies do anyways, they will not be setting much, and they will usually only set stuff that can be chained. So Hunting Ground isn't, sometimes it's not, the best way to go about, although it does provide a very nice MST effect. So I think 2 is good. Of course, you have to have the 3 Hysteric Signs. The thing searches out everything. And I think the Konami did a really good job of, giving a card that is powerful, but not overly powerful, because this thing does have a lot of limitations. Like, if you activate it and you get MST, you don't get any of its effects. So that's just one of those things. And of course, you gotta have your elegant egotist for the party. I mean, for the sign. Yeah. And I am playing 2 Water Dualities, and I'm playing them just for consistency's sake. I mean, the deck, if you actually play, still has a little problems, you know, because if you open really badly, you open really badly. So Pod Duality, it just helps that. And, you know, since I don't exceed as much, the special summoning thing, you know, the limitation on that, it isn't too big of a deal, because I'm not desperate. I'm not in desperate need of get out like a Dragossack first turn. So 2 pots. I am playing Reborn and Dark Hole, no heavy. Or MSTs, actually. So instead of MST, I'm actually playing just one Forbidden Lands. I actually want to play more than one, but as of right now, there's no room. So 1 is where it is right now. We mainly use it for the subtracting 800 attack, just to run over stuff. Because the second effect, you should be able to get rid of your opponent's back row pretty easily, so you shouldn't need to. But, you know, there's always that case where you run out of hunting ground somehow. So that's that. 2 Hysteric Parties. What can I say? This is pretty much your win condition. Yeah, there's not much I can say. You just special summon a bunch of them. Just be careful not to get this MST'd. You do not want to go minus for no reason. Playing 2 Acres. Like I said like a gajillion times before this, I don't exceed summon too much, so I do end up having a lot of Harpies just, you know, on the field by themselves. So Icarus is not as dead. So if you are playing the level rank 7 version, I would recommend actually playing no Icaruses at all, because it's really, it's so dead. You do not want to top deck into this thing. So that's Icarus. I am playing the Solemn Duo. Sadly, it's not trio, but oh well. 2 TTs, my TNTs, blow shit up with a giant waterfall. Yay. You got the 2 Compulses, which are pretty much staple now. I mean, they're like free warnings. You can also use them on your own monsters, which is sometimes nice, I guess. And then finally, you got your Call of the Hornets. I am attacking this right now because I think it has potential in this deck, because you can always use it as a pseudo MSD when during the end phase you just special summon a Harpie and pop a card. And the fact that you can also bounce these back with Falcons, which is nice. You can, you know, net some pluses here and there. But I haven't seen another Harpie deck you know, use these, so I'm not too sure if I love them, but as of right now, you know, they're not bad. So that's the main deck. For the extra deck is actually relatively cheap. I am missing like 1 or 2 cards in here, but you know, so it's actually not that hard to construct the extra deck. So you got your this thing. Some people don't play it, and I can see why. I mean, sometimes like Shockmaster is a better alternative, but I think this card is one of those like examples of cards that look worse on paper than they actually do, you know, perform. Because this thing is actually pretty hard to get rid of. You can't attack over it, you can't target it with effects. So the only main ways to get rid of it is like Dark Hole or Turns to Tribute or like Mirror Force. But you know, assuming your opponent doesn't do any of those, this thing ideally stays in the field for around 3 turns, and it ideally does around 6k worth of damage, which is quite a hefty sum. So you know, you should always consider it if you have room. I'm playing the 1 Lightning Story. I never found myself wanting to go for 2. Of course, there's always, you know, there's always situations where you want a second one, but I'm very hesitant on him because of his low attack. The fact that a lot of things can crash or run him over. So you know, he doesn't really stay in the field for that long, which I just wish he had a little more attack. Playing this guy. I mainly just use him to, or rather her. I usually just use her to pump her attack, because it's not that hard to have a bunch of face-up cards in the field. And she's a wing piece, so you can always aggress her. And then you got your Blackhorn, you got your Shockmaster, got your Utopia. I'm actually playing Utopia right just because I have room for it. Utopia, I think, has become a little better as a first turn kind of low rank 4 exceed, just because people don't extra deck this thing as much, because you know, the extra deck is very tight on space. So you know, you're not as afraid of having this and having mind control and you know, minusing for no reason. But I'm playing that. This is also the other guy I go first turn, but been lately very hesitant to get him out unless I know that my opponent does not use rank 4 exceeds because of this bitch. Yeah, it just becomes a super minus for no reason if he can get Black Ship out and you have a Mind Stroke. So that's my main reason for not wanting to go him as much. And you get your Pappy. I am playing Gemini Pearl. Although this should be a Dire Wolf. But I don't have one right now, so it's gonna be a Gemini Pearl. So yeah, that's all the rank 4s, I believe. Yes, and then you got your rank 3s. These are the ones I use. I mean, they're all really basic. This is the Beat Stick. This is the special summon bunch of stuff. This is the kill other exceeds. This is defensive. I'm not sure why this guy here. I mean, on paper he looks very promising. This deck. I mean, you Hysteric Party and then you tour guide this into this thing. But in reality, I have never, ever tour guide after a Hysteric Party. It just doesn't work. So I'm probably going to be taking this guy out. You know, so he's not really, or she, whatever, it's not a very viable choice. I mean, so I really hope you enjoyed this, or at least I hope it was helpful, kind of. If it didn't, well, I'm sorry, then you just wasted like 10 minutes of your life. But if it did, I'm glad it helped. And I just want to, I guess, thanks for watching, and expect more in the future, or not. Well, thanks.